Well, it's Matt Young here, and I'd just like to welcome you to the post-2009-2010 Ned Flanders cricket team's season review. In fact, we call this a vlog in the industry, and today I'm just going to speak to you a little bit about the reflections of mine over the season. The season started out in a magnificent style with a magnificent epic victory against Lemmings. We strung together 4 wins, and then tragically the wheels fell off a little bit and we had 4 straight losses in perhaps the worst form slump in Flanders history. It was a devastating thing to be part of, but at the same time it was a unique experience for all the boys who stuck through those hard times to come out the other end, and that culminated in a magnificent victory in the State Shield Grand Final, where we have now extended our miraculous one-day winning run to 27 consecutive games, and of course we have now won our 3rd straight State Shield. In fact, we are the only team in history to ever win 3 consecutive State Shields, a remarkable achievement indeed. A shattering time, team morale was at an all-time low, but senior players put their hands up, and with the infusion of some new players, some young fellas, we've really turned the corner. Of course, when I'm looking back at the negative aspects of the season, my mind certainly springs to the controversial forfeit against St Bart's, when they forfeited against us on principle. An unusually worded apology, but I suppose the good thing that came out of it, we got the points, and the downside was that Dan Rowe was to play his 100th game that day and captain the team for the first time, and he didn't get to have that honour because of St Bart's controversial forfeit. Other highlights, I suppose, when I look back through the season, 3 players brought up their 100th game for the club, and that's certainly a marvellous achievement. It's a marvellous source of pride for me to know that 3 more players have seen the beauty of the club and seen it through for 100 games. Of course, Chucky picked up his 100th game, then Rowie did get to play his 100th game despite not getting to be captain, and then Stevie Dirksen, long-term vice-captain, got the job done with his 100th game this season as well. Other interesting things were Meaty scoring a magnificent 166, one of the greatest innings you'd ever want to see. 2 other centuries were scored. Benny scored a great 100, and of course Stevie, in his 1st or 2nd game back after a long injury break, came back and blistered off 100 off about 41 balls. One of the most spectacular innings I've ever seen by a bloke wearing a baggy maroon cap. Benny also picked up his 150th wicket, first man ever to break that ground, and Liam Exelby scored his 3,000th run, also an almost unique achievement, Chico being the only other bloke to have ever done that. So many players ran onto the field this season. It was a club record breaking season for blokes running onto the field. We even had a 12-year-old girl run on. Claire Dunn made a spectacular debut at Yeronga State High and covered herself in glory, and she's very proud to be part of the Flanders Empire now, along with her father, the first father-daughter combination in Flanders history. I thought now I'd just look back at each individual player's season highlights, and I think of first cab off the rank has to be the great Michael James Manag, captained the team twice this season for 2 wins from 2, keeping in track his blistering captaincy record in recent years. He's also done well on the poker tour, and of course Mickey has bowled very well all season, great line and length. Not the luckiest season for Mickey though in terms of taking wickets, but obviously he's been there now for 8 trophy winning teams, and that's a club record. Chucky played his 100th game. I was so proud of that. Also got a duck, so he's joined the club. Blokes that played their 100th game and got naught. He and I are the 2 members of that club. He got a couple of great scores, a 70-odd against Lemmings and a 50-odd against Trinity, and his catching at slip this year, it was absolutely unbelievable. Stevie Dirksen, a controversial retirement from the vice-captaincy role, but still a very senior man, still the go-to man for tactics, and of course, as I mentioned before, scored an absolutely amazing century and valuable runs at a large number of times during the season. A couple of other half centuries and a pivotal role in the grand final when his innings really stopped the rot when we were in a little bit of trouble there. Brett Wally, of course, club stalwart, took his 100th wicket for the club this season, took a magnificent fifer against Lemmings, possibly his best bowling spell in quite a while, until the grand final when he came back and took 3 for 32. Absolutely unbelievable performance, and one of the great bowling performances that I can remember. And as usual, Brett Wally was in the centre when the grand final victory runs were hit, as he was in Japan. He knows how to be part of a glorious moment, that fella. Benny Field, what a player. I thought he was possibly the player of the season. A lot of contenders for that sort of title, but Benny was my go-to man when I needed wickets. I threw the ball to Benny, and he never let me down. He took a 6 for earlier in the season, his best bowling figures for the club. Also, I think that's a club record for the best ever one-day bowling figures. He got a century as well. Always got valuable runs. None more valuable than what he did in the grand final, when he hit a couple of magnificent strokes, 3 sixes in all, I think, on his way to 30 odd not out, to get us over the line when things really were very difficult in that grand final. So Benny Field, thank you, mate. You have had a glorious season. Preds, our only current member in the state team. What a season Preds had. Got valuable runs, got valuable wickets, bowled tight all the time. Great set of hands in the outfield or close to the wicket. Preds is the definitive team man. I love having him on the paddock. The great Road Dog. Penciled in for two games as captain this season, and he won both of them on forfeit. The intimidation factor of having the Road Dog pulling on the baggy maroon cap and having the C after his name was enough to frighten off St Bart's and frighten off some other team, some bunch of nobodies that we'll never hear of again. His wicket keeping, as usual, was superlative. Hardly any buys all season. Caught brilliantly as usual, but he did drop a catch this season, and that was about the first time I can ever remember seeing that. So that was a unique moment in Flanders history. The day I was there, the day Road Dog dropped a catch, and that's a reflection of how good he really is, that little fellow. And his stats, always letting us know what's going on with the stats and the accounting. He's a hero, the unsung hero. Moving on to some of the new players. Roy, I thought little Roy came into the team and has had an immediate impact. Well liked by everybody. Fantastic team man, fantastic club man. Behind the scenes, he's at training every week, working hard, helping blokes with their batting and their bowling. Got on the field a few times and fielded like a demon. He's got a great set of hands, and I think his slippery little left arm darts are going to be very valuable as time unfolds. JP came out, bowled some great leggies in the nets. Got his first wicket for the club. He's a young bloke with a huge amount of enthusiasm, and I know that he's going to be part of the future of the club. Ryan, also, unbelievable debut with 2 stumpings inside the first 10 minutes he was on the paddock, standing up to Mickey and Brady. Those moments will stay in my memory for a long, long time. I think he is part of the future of the Flanders Empire as well. Pranavan, playing his first season, got injured early on, then came back brilliantly, bowled some very slippery spells. Took a great 3 for, bowled frighteningly. I was on the sideline. I would not have wanted to be at slip. I certainly wouldn't want to be at the other end facing him. This kid is going to open the bowling for a lot of years, I think. Solid batsman and a great set of hands at slip. I think Pranavan is going to make a real contribution to the Flanders over the next few years. While we're on the subcontinent, let's go and have a look at young Ram Jam. Played his first season last season. Came in this season with his youthful enthusiasm brimming all over the place as usual. Got injured, then came back and made an amazing impact. Took a 3 for and a 4 for early on, post-Christmas. Bowled us to victory in 2 games single-handedly. Won man of the match twice. And then in the final, did superbly well. Bowled a fantastic first-up spell to really put us on the front foot. This kid's passion for wearing the bag in their own is something that inspires me, and I've been around for a while. So Ram Jam, mate, you are something special, mate, and I'm looking forward to seeing you develop as a cricketer. Speaking of young blokes, young Frankel, what a season he's had. Plodding away up there at the top of the order, always contributing runs. Got a great 40-odd against Mustang Salies. His bowling has really come on this season. He's added 5 or 10k to his bowling, I think, and he's dipping them around in-swingers, out-swingers. Got a very nice little 4 for against Lemmings when he completely undid their middle order. And I think his little dribbly-drobblies are going to be a real asset to the team down the track. Sneaky Pete, we're talking about the top of the order. Who do you think of when you think of the bloke who wants to go out there and face the first pill of an innings? It's little Sneaky Pete. Enthusiasm waned a little bit, but he had a couple of weeks off and realised what passion he had for the club and for cricket. And he came back and went absolutely gangbusters post-Christmas. Scored some fantastic runs, including a great 60-odd against the Mormons. His catching this season was something special as well. Very consistent performer under the high ball and in the outfield. And it's an absolute joy to me and a huge relief when I found that Sneaky, after some initial hesitancy, has come in and said he's on board for the Spain Morocco tour. What a treat that'll be. Club Sneeps back